I can't wait to get there. Kart, practice rounds, a couple beers maybe, nightlife. I mean, 3-day golf. I can't wait for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. Like once you did that, I turned around. I was like, Barrels, who asked that? It's like John. I'm like, oh, well, okay. And then everyone there, because I only wore it, so I wore it for Pasa Tiempo. I didn't wear it the next day, and then I wore it on the way up to Bandon, and I probably wore it. I don't know.
You wore it every fucking day.
No, I didn't. That's the thing. Like I didn't. There were at least 2 rounds that I didn't wear it. I wore the gray Sugarloaf pullover, but anytime anyone like filmed me or did anything, I was wearing it. So of course everyone thinks, oh, this fucker, he lives in this sweater. And one, it's not even a sweater. It's a freaking like fleece hoodie. But somehow, I mean, it just took off, and everyone there, online, whoever was asking me about it. And I'm like, hey, listen, it smelled fine. Smelled like the ocean.
Now each year you go to Bandon, you're gonna have to take a different sweater, McGavin.
No, I'm gonna try and find another one. The only problem is I know exactly where they would be, and that's Park City, Utah, where I found it. But there's none online.
eBay, Poshmark.
I could look, but yeah, I doubt I'm gonna find another one.
That's so funny. Like I said that, and then it just kept going and going and fucking going.
and that's what like everyone started calling me now, like, hey, sweaters, or Red Dot, or
that's so
dude.
The Red Dot
crazy. Yeah. So and then someone said, hey, Sweater McGavin. I'm like, all right, well, something's gonna stick eventually. But no, dude.
And then James made you that marker.
Yeah. So he's like, hey, you want to see something cool? I'm like, well, yeah. And he shows me that. I'm like, you got to be joking. It's so cool.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, thanks for joining this episode of the Dew Sweepers, episode 7. We're actually discussing Cam's trip to Bandon and how his new nickname is Sweater McGavin. If you paid attention to our Instagram or Cam's Instagram over the last week, he was out in Bandon last week. So we're just gonna jump right into the Bandon trip. So
yeah, where do you want me to start? You want me to start landing in California? And we essentially had a golf trip before a golf trip. It was kind of epic.
I'm so jealous. I'm just so fucking jealous.
So all right, I'll go to the all right. I flew
starts from the top.
So I flew into San Fran on Thursday. So not last Thursday, but the Thursday before. And straight from the airport, we drove to Harding Park, played 18 there. And there's about 10, 12 of us at least. Yeah. Or no, 8. There was 8 of us. Played Harding Park. They were already getting ready for the PGA, obviously. It was pretty kind of wild to see the monstrosities that they're building. But the course was awesome. That was my second time playing it. The fairways were much tighter and the rough was much thicker, but I can imagine that it has to get thicker. Otherwise, the players will tear that place apart. But anyways, play Harding Park, and then the next day, Friday, we go in the morning to go play Glen Eagles, which is an amazing 9-hole hidden gem in the projects. But we had probably some of the best pictures there. Really cool. We got there before any of the guys in the pro shop got there, and they're like, hey, don't worry about it. Just go play. We'll catch you on the way back. So we played, I think, as like a 10 or 11 some.
That's awesome.
We played about 10 or 12 holes there, finished up. Then Wade came from the airport, and we all went to Pasa Tiempo, where we had, I think, 14. So we got there, had lunch, went and played. It was completely different dynamic than the first time I played there too, because the first time there was perfect weather. It was sunny. This time it was kind of gloomy, a little windy. Coronavirus was running amok everywhere. But it was still surreal. And then Saturday we played at this casino resort course called Yochadehi, and it's kind of like on the other side of the valley, Napa Valley, and so everything was pretty. Going up there was about an hour and a half drive, and this place, I tell you, no shit, it was one of the best values I think I've played in golf in terms of, I believe it was like $75, and there was no one on the course. And this course, if you've been to Scottsdale or any other big like resort course, they have to keep it manicured. They have to keep it perfect. This place was perfect. Really
You're
cool.
talking Pasatiempo?
No,
Or legit?
Yochadehi.
Oh, you okay? Gotcha.
Yeah, just in terms of like things being manicured, the maintenance, yada yada. I mean, this is easily a $250 course like anywhere else, and we played it for $75 on a Saturday in the middle of the day.
Wow.
Why wasn't it crowded? Because of the virus, or?
I don't think that had really ramped up yet. It was raining the entire time that we were driving out there, and it stopped, and the sun came out, and that was it.
So is it like one of those resorts where like that's the only thing in the area? So like you're planning a full day to driving to it, or?
I mean, so it's far enough to where people from Sacramento, like, if the weather's not going to be good, they're not going to want to make the drive out there. And it's on the other side of the valley. So it's going to be a little bit of a drive no matter where you come from. And so I think that was part of it too, is just some people thought that it was going to rain, because it was literally raining that entire morning until we got there. And yeah, no, it was really cool. Some of the holes went through like parts of the winery on the property.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we ended up playing as like God, I don't know how many people, at least 10 some towards the end.
So I've never done that before. I've never played with 8 to 10 to 12 people. What's it like when you, I mean, is it just as fast if you just kind of played ready up golf? Is it how you do it? Are there multiple balls flying in there at the same time, or what?
You have to play ready golf. Most of the time when you're going to have holdups is on the tee and on the green.
Yeah.
In between, it's just chaos. It's
balls
awesome.
Flying everywhere.
Yeah,
just balls coming in.
Exactly. Like you're 50 yards ahead, like right in front of someone. They say heads up, and you just pay attention. That's it. But I mean, the only way to really be quicker in groups like that is to tee off at least 2 at a time. And then on the green, you have to play ready golf. It just depends on the games that you're playing. But we were drinking, we were riding, so it was taking a little bit longer. But we didn't really have anything else to do. That was our only thing for that day. But then the next morning was early. We all stayed at Levi's house for the most part, and we got up around like, I think 5.
It had to have been 5 a.m. because I was on Instagram and I saw it. I think, what morning was that?
It was Sunday morning.
I remember I was on Instagram at like 8:30 or 9, and I saw Barrels posting, and he's like, looks like he's barely alive in that car.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. So
where were you guys in a parking lot of?
We had 2 Tahoes. It might have been.
He's like, here with my crew, and then he showed the phone around to the inside of the vehicle, and there's nobody in the car with him.
Oh. Well, I mean, we were at Levi's house and we were loading up 2 Tahoes, but then I know we stopped at like a gas station.
Probably there, but anyway.
Yeah, we had 2 Tahoes filled, one with all the golf bags, the other with all the other shit. And yeah, it was about 7.5 hours, but we hit this fucking blizzard from out of nowhere going up one of the passes, and it got pretty intense to where our visibility was about 10 feet in front of us.
Oh geez.
Yeah, and it came out of nowhere, and that lasted for a good, I don't know, 2 hours, at least 2-3 hours before we got out of it. And yeah, it was
in the promised land.
It was pretty wild. Well, it still took a little bit of time before we got there, but then we get into Oregon, and then kind of that pretty drive, and then we got there, and we all kind of were really giddy. We got out. Barrels and I, we were at the main lodge and where Bandon Dunes was, and we were just walking around, and we couldn't believe the property, let alone getting out on the course. But we were waiting for the other car to get there. We all check in, we get our shit unpacked, and then we go straight to the preserve.
No, that's their
And
short course, right?
yeah, so that's 13 hole par 3 course. Pretty sure it's a core Crenshaw. They did that along with Trails and I believe Sheep Ranch, which we'll get into. And yeah, the preserve, honestly, I mean, to start off the trip, you couldn't really make it any better. We went 8-8. Yeah, because we met up with a few other guys that Barrels and some other people had talked to on Instagram. So we did 8-8, and we played 13, and it started raining. That was probably the worst weather we got of the trip. It was a little gloomy, and it started to rain, but it was wild. Just everything about it. And then so on the 8th hole is a punch bowl, and it was playing about 65 yards, and we were in the group in front of our other one, and so I just wanted to wait on the next tee box and see everyone hit because I could stand on the hill. I shit you not, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all of a sudden I see this one just rocket in, and the play is for this is to always hit it further and let it spin back off the hill. Well, this one fucking rockets in, hits
Like
the
a
hill.
slam dunk.
No. It hits the backstop, spins back like freaking on a zip cord, and is going just right at the pin. And mind you, if this doesn't hit the pin, it's going off the front of the green. And this green's probably 45, 50 yards long. And sure enough, hits the pin going 1,000 miles an hour, dead center in the hole.
And drops.
Wow. I lose it. Not even like thinking in the fact that, oh fuck, I wasn't recording it. I go nuts. And so Christian Gazdart, who just, sunk it, didn't believe anyone. Because apparently the guys that were on the tee box were like, hey, I bet these guys are gonna fake that you're gonna get a hole in one right here. So he comes walking.
That's funny.
Comes walking up. He didn't want anyone to talk to him, touch him, anything until he saw the ball in the hole. And I mean, I'm sure you saw the video. He goes up, and once he sees it, like, he goes nuts. But I couldn't believe it. That's the only other hole in one I've ever seen besides my own.
That's actually hilarious that he doesn't believe any of you.
Yeah, he
honestly though,
anyone.
When that happens, you don't believe it until you see it in the cup.
Oh, sure.
It's still disbelief until it happens. Austin, I hope you have one because it's one of the greatest feelings you ever have in your life. Honest to God, it's nothing.
I hope so too.
Nothing better. You can be a shit golfer and still get a hole in one. Not saying you're a shit golfer at all, but
okay, where were we? Preserve. Oh, hole in one.
Yeah, you just went over the hole in one. He didn't believe you guys.
Yeah. Okay. And we're finishing up, and it's starting to rain a little harder. So we're kind of like, all right, screw this. We're done. We're finishing up on 13, and we have kind of like we've got like a separated part of the restaurant for dinner. And I mean, it's a whole bunch of us. So we have dinner. I'll celebrate the hole in one, meeting new people. Apparently, I think his name was Kyle Redding, but really good guys. And then we go back, kind of get ready for the next day. And so the first full day was Old McDonald in the morning and Bandon Dunes in the afternoon. I will say, and we can talk about like the different courses and stuff in detail, just based off of, what I thought and everything. But just being on the grounds, it still didn't really sink in. And then we all got to the first tee, and the first hole is this extremely open, very straightforward par 4, short par 4. So, I mean, Old Mac is supposed to be kind of the most linksy course, like more of a traditional links golf course. And usually they have, kind of a not, I don't want to say warm up, but more of a leading in type hole to where you're not just getting punched in the face first off. So very straightforward, short par 4. Some guys are taking driver, some guys are taking 4-iron, yada yada. I'm taking a 4-iron. And we're all in different foursomes. We have 4 caddies, so we've got 3 different tee times going. And just hit one straight down the middle, have a wedge in. It took me about 6 holes to get used to kind of the greens and all of that, because each course has, different, I don't want to say fully different style of greens, but they're all different pace and whatnot. But it just takes some time to get used to it. But kind of relaying into kind of the main point of where I had a oh shit moment and I'm really here type of moment is short par 4, number 1. Then you have a kind of a short par 3, number 2. And then you walk over to number 3. Meanwhile, you're walking down to the green at number 2 and you see the ghost tree on your left. Well, after that, you go to the tee shot, which is behind 2 green, and you're hitting back up just, right at the ghost tree over this big hill. And you essentially have to carry it 200 to get over this hill. And so we all hit our tee shots. We're walking up and then we crest at the top of the hill and we just see the entire fucking property and the ocean.
Really?
When it's set in.
I legit, and
"Oh,
I've told a few people, and it's not the exact same, but I tell you what, that moment and those feelings were some of the same that I had on my wedding day. It was that kind of surreal to me.
It's a bold
just cresting
statement.
over. Well, it's a different statement because they're different feelings, but
Right.
at the same time, it's very like something you're so passionate about and you're looking forward to so much. And you finally are there. And I had no idea I was going to walk over this hill and then see all of that. I was just like, holy shit, this is unbelievable. And I could see 3 different golf courses right there, looking to my left and looking to my right. And then I can see the
crazy.
Pacific Ocean. Yeah. But yeah, so we play Old Mac, kind of get an opening and a wake up call, kind of play like shit. Play Bandon Dunes.
What's shit for you? What'd you shoot? What's shit for you?
Well, okay, so I say that, but so to give you some reference point, at Harding, I played pretty well. I was making a lot of putts, but I shot 77. I couldn't hit a green, whatever. But I was just making everything. Yeah. Pasa, I shot 80. It was kind of a difficult round, but it was fun. Yocha, I was all over the place. I shot 83. And so I'm like, all right, well, this will give me some expectations because even though the courses at Bandon are not long,
How long are they? Like,
well, so depending
68?
on where the wind is, so it depends. Like for us, we didn't play the tips because we had some guys in our group that couldn't hit it very long, and we just didn't want to make them suffer in terms of playing it at, I think it tips out at 6,800, but depending on the wind, it could play 7,300. But I think collectively, like on average, it was around 62, 6,300, which was fine. So the first day, Old Mac and Bandon Dunes, I shot 79 for both of those. Bandon was a lot of fun.
Terrible.
Well, I mean, you got to think of it as you're getting used to things. You're like, I didn't make many 3 putts. And then when I got there, I think the last day I had 6 3 putts that day.
Wow.
Oh,
that's like a home run for me.
And then, yeah, and I shot 78, 77. So riddle me that. But anyways, so yeah, going to Bandon Dunes, we are playing there the afternoon. We're kind of hustling. That was one thing that I know for next year we're going to work on is the spacing of tee times because we were literally rushing to every afternoon tee time.
Like we were in Chicago last year.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's
just
exactly.
like
Yeah.
Chicago.
Well, and it also didn't help that the first day we had a frost delay for at least an hour.
That's
So
not fun.
that didn't help at all. But Bandon was a lot of fun. I think it got kind of pushed to the side a little bit just because it was on the first day in the afternoon and they had to start on 10. But it was still amazing. And then we ate at the restaurant at the lodge. But then the second day we played Bandon Trails in the morning, which might have been one of the most quiet, peaceful rounds I think I've ever played.
That's like back in the woods, more of the pine trees.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So Core Crenshaw, which if you go there and you've played a Core Crenshaw course, you know exactly that just what they've been able to make out of the land is pretty incredible. And you're kind of back through there in that peaceful and to where you can kind of hear the ocean. But throughout the course, you can still see glimpses of some of the other courses. And so we played there. Couldn't make a putt. I couldn't buy a putt, and yet I shot really well. I missed 2 birdie putts under 5 feet, so that was kind of frustrating. And so I went and I changed putters. We played Pacific Dunes, which was incredible, and I probably made 230 feet of putts. I was on 69 watch for a while. Yeah, no. So when I called you guys, I was on 15. That was a par 5. I was only, I think I was either even or 1 over then, and I ended
15?
up. Yeah, I think it was.
So John, talking in your backswing really threw your game through a little.
Yeah.
No.
So blame John.
No.
Everybody else
no.
does. You can blame me.
I bogeyed 18, which is a par 5, but I was pretty buzzed.
Cam.
I was buzzed at that point, and I had an Irish coffee, and I was like, life is good.
So, question about that. So, how do you carry your alcohol with you when you're walking that much?
Yep.
You load your
Yep.
bag up and
Yeah, we
drink
loaded
light?
bags up with claws and beer. They have it spaced out to where the turn stand is about every 6 or 7 holes.
Okay, it's not terrible.
So it's not bad.
Did they have carts?
and-
I saw you guys use carts a couple days. Was like every course had a push
No,
cart, or
we
just
did-
some-
the push carts? Yeah. So
Yeah.
you could use a push cart on any of the courses. I didn't use one. I probably should have at least once, but yeah. So like for Pack Dunes, it was really, really windy on a good bit of that round. But that's what made it so fun, because we played it the next afternoon, and it was absolutely dead. And it played like a completely different course. So after that, so we've got 4 rounds under, and then originally we were scheduled to play the Preserve in the morning and then Pack Dunes for our championship match. So for the 2-man best ball. So after 4 rounds, we seeded everyone based off of the Stableford points.
Okay, so
And-
real quick on Stableford points. I have no fucking clue what Stableford means in points wise. So could you explain how you seed and what Stableford is for a game? Because I have no idea what Stableford is. No clue.
Yeah, so Stableford is a point allotment for each, score on the, on a hole. So like, say for instance, a lot of guys will do like double eagle at like 6 or 8 points, eagle at 4 or 5, maybe 6 points, a birdie at like 3 or 4 points, a par at 2 points, a bogey at 0, and a double bogey or worse at like -1. And traditionally, how it's supposed to work when you play it with your buddies or whatever is, depending on your handicap, you're supposed to pull or have a quota of a certain amount of points, and then dependent on who's paying money and who's getting money is how well you play off that quota. But since we had a group of guys that a lot of them didn't have a gin, a lot of them didn't really know where they were playing at, myself included.
You see teams off of your first 4 rounds.
Exactly. So off of that, and what we did was we seeded everyone off of those first 4, but we were going to decide the overall Stableford winner off your best 3 rounds. So from that, I got seeded 1, which was not really what I wanted.
Humble
at least
brag.
for the 2. No, well,
Yeah.
honestly though,
You want to be down in
the
the middle of the pack probably for that, don't you?
exactly, like I wanted to be 4 or 5, because at that
So you had some
point
points there to give up.
you're there, and your buddy is going to get like 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 strokes. And that's where you make up a lot of your points for those, net eagles.
Now it's best ball
Yeah, so
for
everyone plays
your
out
team.
their own ball. Yeah, and it's best score, and then you figure in all the pops and handicap holes afterwards. But yeah, so we go in, and then we decided to play Old Mac in the morning instead of the Preserve, because honestly, Old Mac, even though I didn't shoot my best on it, I would want to play that course just time and time again. So many holes were just really unique. So we played that in the morning. That was when I had no touch. And then we played Pack Dunes in the afternoon. So I played solid. It was going to get close, but I knew that unless you were in the middle of the pack, those guys, or just really went low when you needed to, is at that point, it becomes mostly strategy on knowing which holes you need to shoot well on. And that's really, I think the 2-man best ball score was 6 or 7 under that one, which was pretty good.
So who's your partner?
So I had Levi, which I thought was a steal. I don't know how he got 11th seed, but we had fun. We just didn't birdie the holes or pop on the holes that we really needed to. And it was me, Levi, and then Wade, Warren, and then Dave Young, who kind of orchestrated it all with Levi. Were the other 2. And Wade and Dave, I think, were just one shot back of winning. Wade played really good, but we were kind of hand in hand. And I knew that I had about a 20-point lead in kind of the individual Stableford. And so I knew I had to play. I still had to play really well, because it would take the top 3 out of the 6. And John Dickerson, who's a big lamb guy, but really good guy that I've met throughout this process, is really good golfer, and he was right behind me. But yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen. Everything was really close. I think it was fairly done. I know that there will probably be some adjustments for next year. I think we're requiring everyone to have a gin so that we know, hey, this is what you're playing at in terms of a handicap, and can adjust from there. But yeah. Oh, so we finished Pack Dunes the last day, and then ran straight to the Preserve and got in like an emergency 13 right as sunset was going down. So we played a shit ton of golf that day. Pretty sure I fucked up either my ankles or my shins and whatever, walking so much. I think we looked at it. I think we did about, I guess it ranged from like 17 to almost 20 miles a day.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then throwing the Preserve on top of that for one of the days?
Well, I mean, that was included. So it ranged depending on the day. But yeah, it was a lot of walking. But for the last round, I got a caddy to carry my bag, and that was sensational.
Oh, I can imagine after
couldn't
walking
imagine
36
that.
holes a day.
Yeah, it was awesome. Definitely highlight golf trip. I would recommend everyone save up the money and do it.
I hope you guys all enjoyed the Bandon recap with Cam. Now let's switch some gears here to our interview we did with Cooper Musselman. He's a recent graduate of University of Kentucky and currently set to play on the Mackenzie Tour in Canada when it kicks off this summer. So I guess to get started here, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself and your background in golf. I know you said you're from the Louisville area. Am I saying it right, Louisville?
Yeah, say it like you're drunk on bourbon. Yeah, it's pronounced Louisville. At least everyone from Louisville calls it Louisville.
Yeah. So give us a little background on your golf and where you're from and where you're at now.
All right. Yeah. So I grew up born and raised in Louisville, Kentucky. Went to St. Xavier High School It's kind of like a bigger Catholic school in the Louisville area, like right in the heart of Louisville. And played for them on the golf team. And after I graduated from St. X, got a really good offer to go to University of Kentucky to play golf. And that's so I took that offer immediately because it was a really good offer, and I was really excited to play with some of those guys because they were all kind of from Kentucky.
Yeah.
And and yeah.
So what was it like playing college golf at Kentucky, UK?
It was awesome. It was probably, I'd say, the best. I did 5 years. So it was the best 5 years of my life.
Yeah.
It was
the +1 plan.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was happy to be on that plan.
Yeah. Yeah. So is SEC like the hardest conference for golf in D1 across the board? Usually.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some years where like Oklahoma State and Texas have been, and like the Big 12 has been really good. But for the most part, I'd say SEC, they have a pretty big advantage on, practicing all year round and stuff like that. So that's what really, another component that drew me to Kentucky was, playing against the hardest competition that I can find.
Yeah. Yeah.
You sure it's not the Big Ten?
Big Ten's pretty good. I mean, we played against Illinois a bunch, and they were always a top 10 team. When I was there, they were really good. I had a buddy that played at Indiana, and he loved that. I think that was about it. We played with, I guess, Purdue a little bit. They were pretty good. So, I mean, all the Power 5 conferences all had at least, a couple teams that were always up there in the rankings nationally.
Yeah, so I go to Illinois. That's why I mentioned the Big Ten.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. You go to Illinois right now?
Yeah, I actually graduated in May.
Oh, nice.
He's not actually going to class. He's just sitting at home doing nothing right now. He's
Pretty much
zooming
like
his classes in. Yeah.
Pretty much like all the college population.
Exactly. So where's that put you at on your plans for this year? What were your plans for this year before going into this craziness we've dealt with the last 3-4 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, my plans this year were I have full status on the Mackenzie Tour up in Canada.
Yep.
So fortunately, that doesn't start until the end of May. So as of right now, I think we're going to try and start as soon as possible, as soon as the first tournament was scheduled. I'm sure that'll get pushed back a little bit, but hopefully it'll all be kind of blown over by that point, and I can still have a full schedule.
Yeah.
But I mean, as of right now, I was supposed to do I was kind of scheduling to do a bunch of Monday qualifiers and trying to get in some Corn Ferry events, but I mean, they all got canceled. So
right.
Now I'm kind of just chilling.
When was your last event you played in? Was it one here in January?
I played. Let's see. I played in the, I guess, the Corn Ferry event in January in the Bahamas, and then I'm just after that, just a bunch of mini tour stuff around Florida. There's a tour called the Florida Elite Tour. I played in one of their events. I played in the All Pro Tour, one of their events over in like Louisiana. So just kind of been all over
bouncing around.
Just trying to find something to play in.
Yeah, grinding it out.
Yeah, mini tour life. It's a grind.
So what's it like when you go? So I've never really followed any of the smaller tours, but what's it like when you roll into a tour town? Like, what's the schedule for the weekend, qualifying? When you're on a Mackenzie Tour up in Canada, since you've got full status, are those Thursday to Sunday events just like any other tour when it comes to that?
They're Thursday to Sunday. They're I mean, the Mackenzie Tour has done a really good job of having like a PGA Tour feel to it. I mean, when you get there, I mean, they close the whole course for the whole week. So I get there on Monday and, register and all that. And on Mondays, the course is pretty much open. So I can go play 18 holes if I want to, use all the practice facilities. Tuesday's always their Pro-Am, or at least it was last year. So last year, I don't think I played in any of the Pro-Ams. They normally only have I'd say 15 to 18 guys playing the Pro-Ams.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, they kind of pick the Canadian guys because, I guess it's a
local thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of those guys play. And then, so that course is kind of closed for that day. So I just, do some fundamental work, practice on green speeds, fundamental full swing, and all that fun stuff. And then the courses are normally open on Wednesday to the players just to, get their full practice round in. So I always play 18 holes on Wednesday and then, tee it up Thursday to Sunday and then do it all over again. The next week.
How many tour events does the Mackenzie Tour have?
Last year they had 12 events. This year I think they moved it to 13 and they actually put one event in Minnesota. So that'd be kind of nice being in
the
home in the
US.
States. Yeah.
Now,
excited about that.
Have you ever played now as Banff out there? And is that on Mackenzie Tour? That's not. I've seen pictures of that course all over Instagram, and it looks gorgeous. Pointing at the backdrop of the mountains. Is that on the tour?
Yeah, the tour always plays in Calgary, so it's like Calgary is about an hour and a half east of Banff.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, a lot of the guys, like I guess we went from Edmonton, which is probably 3 hours north of Calgary, and a lot of the guys just drove down from Edmonton to Calgary, and then on Monday everyone took the kind of the day off and drove over to Banff and kind of just hung out in the town, did all the hikes, saw all the lakes. And then I think some people played, there's a course up in Banff. I've never played it, but I think some people played it and they all loved it.
I've seen pictures of it and it looks gorgeous with the tall pines lining the fairways and with the mountains in the background.
It looks awesome. There's a lot of elevation changes. So, I mean, there's people, playing 20-yard down par threes that just look really cool.
Yeah. What's your favorite course you've ever played on, just in general? Not on tours, or just what's your most favorite course you ever played on?
Favorite course in general? That's a tough one. I'd probably have to say, there used to be a course up in Indy called Wolf Run. And it's kind of funny, actually. I used to hate the course. Like, we would always go up to Indianapolis for qualifying in college and play this course. And it was like the hardest course I've ever played. And then we had a tournament there. I guess my redshirt freshman year I played, and it was like, winds blowing 25 miles an hour. It's like kind of cold in the morning, walking 36 for the first day, 18 for the second day. And the course it just beat you up. So at that point, I absolutely hated the course. But as I continued to get a little better, the more I liked the course. And the last time I ever played it was, I played it pretty well, and then I was like, man, this course is actually really good.
Did they just get rid of it then, or what happened to it?
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. I know there were rumors that the course was just going under, and they were going to put a neighborhood on top of it. Then there were rumors that I heard about 2 weeks ago that people were trying to bring it back. So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with it. But as of right now, I think it's closed, and yeah, so it's just kind of overgrown right now.
Interesting. I'm on Google right now, pulling up pictures. Looks like a really, really nice course.
Yeah, it's tough. I think what's his name? His last name's Smyers. He's the guy that designed it. He basically hates golfers. He tries to make the course just as hard.
Some of those shots look impossible, like that par three. Yeah. It was just like that postage stamp for a green. Just tiny greens.
Yeah, there was
elevated greens.
Yeah, there was a lot. It was basically like in the hills of, I don't know what that
Zionsville, north side of Indy.
Zionsville, yeah, that's what it was. Zionsville, yeah. It's basically just up and down hills, a lot of elevation changes, and it was a really tough track. But if you got it on a day when it was, not windy, not cold, if you played at 70 degrees, sunny, not a whole lot of wind, it was a great course, really good test.
Yeah, wow.
Would you rather a course beat you up, or do you prefer the course that you can really just go at and pin hunt all day?
A little mixture of both would be great. I would say, yeah. I like most of the courses to be a really fair test. That's probably the biggest thing. Is when you hit really good shots, you should get rewarded, and when you hit bad shots, you should be penalized. So that course, there was a couple holes that were, they're par fours that are 480 that are tough, that'll beat you up, and then there are a couple holes that were, 370 holes that, if you hit really good shots, you got wedges in, and you got a really good chance at birdie. So just a little mixture, I guess. I guess if I'm trying to get like as good as I could possibly get, I'd rather play, a hard course that just beats you up all the time, because if you can shoot under par there, then you can shoot under par anywhere.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So what's your like favorite club, your go-to club in your bag?
If you talked to me last year, it's probably my driver, but right now, not so much. I don't know. If you give me a 100-yard shot, that's probably my favorite yardage right now.
So what do you use for that 100-yard shot? Using like a 56?
Yeah, I got a 55 degree.
55?
Yeah. So I'd say that's probably my favorite spot right now.
Yeah, I wish I could hit my 5,500 yards and just stick it. It's not going to happen any day in my playing career anytime soon.
I wish I could hit my 55 without sculling it.
Yeah.
They tend to win sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes that works out a little bit. So
yeah.
But so I see you. We're doing some background on you. I see you recently got married. Is that true?
Yeah, I did. Got married in June of last year. So
okay.
Coming up on 10 months, I think the first of this month. Yeah, 10 months. Time's just flying right by.
I got married in July last year. So.
Oh, nice. Congrats.
So, thanks. You too. I actually saw, so it's funny. I go to Louisville every year for work for the National Farm Machinery Show. I work in the agriculture industry.
Okay,
and
nice.
Every year we stay at the Seelbach.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we stay at the Seelbach every year. And I had seen going through some stuff that you guys had your wedding at the Seelbach. I'm like, I know that hotel. Oh man, that's the one we stay at every year. And we're there for right off 4th Street for the Farm Machinery Show every year. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorite places in Louisville. I mean, it has so much history behind it. And so I guess me and my wife, we were just dating at the time, and I was kind of trying to figure out a way to propose to her. And my sister was like, I was texting my sister like, hey, how should I do this? I want to make it cool, but I don't want to make it like, anything over the top or anything. And she was like, oh, I got a perfect plan. She actually worked for the Seelbach at that time. She was like, have you and her come down to the old Seelbach bar, and I'll make up a story about how to get you on the roof of the Seelbach where you're overlooking the whole city of Louisville. And I was like, oh, perfect. That's going to be great. Get her there. My sister's there, and we're having a drink. And then, my sister comes down and says, we're putting in a rooftop bar. Do y'all want to come see it? And I said, sure, that sounds great. Knowing what the whole plan is.
Yeah.
Get her up like this janky fire escape that is just not safe at all. Get my sister up there, her sister up there, and then that's where I proposed to her. So that was, I thought it was a pretty good plan until I look over, and my wife's name's Madison. Madison's shaking. She's like, I'm like absolutely terrified of heights, right? And I'm like, oh, I probably should have known that before I took you up to the rooftop.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so that was, and then once we got engaged there, I guess my sister took a picture of a church in the background. We were like, hey, let's get married in that church, and let's have the reception at the Seelbach. That all sounds great, and we got it all worked out to where it was just a great day. Yeah,
that's awesome. What do you think of the bourbon selection there at Seelbach? Is it pretty good for bars in Louisville?
Oh yeah. I mean, they have, I think all the good stuff. I'm
not a bourbon guy, so you have to tell me if it's good or not. A lot of the other guys in the podcast are big bourbon guys. I am not a bourbon guy by any means.
I'm kind of a bourbon guy, but I like the more expensive stuff, and my wallet just can't handle it. So I normally just stick to the cheapest stuff. So their selection's really good. I know they have, all the I think they have some Pappy there, which is like, I think the top of the top. Yeah,
they had some Pappy there. I saw on the list the one day.
Yeah. That's why that's really my only knowledge. So that's probably the best.
So if you're out golfing with your buddies, what's your go-to drink on course if you decide to have a drink on the course?
We normally don't drink a whole lot on the course.
I mean, not.
I know. Last time I drank on the course was my bachelor party, and Yeah, we got after it that day. I'd say we normally just had, most of us just had, I think mine was just a Michelob Ultra, just something that was kind of light and that I could drink a lot of to just have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of the guys with me were drinking like, what were they drinking? I think vodka and pink lemonade or vodka and sweet tea or something like that. And
Yeah.
I'm just not a big vodka guy, so I just stuck with the beer.
That's too much for the golf course.
Yeah, that can get out of hand quickly.
That can really quick, especially if you drink mixed drinks as fast as you drink beer. That's when it'll lay you down really quick.
Yeah, I think they got a little out of control, but
Yeah,
it was in good fun.
Yeah, I think Austin, you're a White Claw guy, aren't you?
Oh yeah, big.
I like him too, though, so I can't make fun of you too much. So
they're probably good. They're probably great on the course. I'm not a big seltzer guy, but I mean they're huge right now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's actually some ones out there that I think they actually taste even better than White Claw, but no free ads.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No free ads. Yeah, no free ads. So, but so what's the highlight of your career so far? You could be high school, college, pro. What's the highlight of your career so far?
I would say, I mean, the biggest highlight was coming out of college. I had a pretty good senior year last year, and that was the year that the Barbasol moved from. It was in Auburn, Alabama, and it actually moved to Lexington, Kentucky, which is where the University of Kentucky is located. So the tournament, the guy that was putting it on approached, I guess, my dad, my coach, and another player on the team, and was like, "Hey, we're gonna have, I think we want to get some local guys in it." So they asked myself and my teammate Chip McDaniel to play in it, and that was probably the highlight. Just coming right out of college, that was my first pro event, and just getting to play your first professional event on the PGA Tour and in your home state. That was probably the coolest experience of my life.
So how nervous were you on a scale of 1 to 10?
At 11. It was I had my buddy caddying for me, Lucas Jones. He's been my best friend since like we were in 5th grade.
Yeah.
So, we're warming up before on Thursday. And I normally like to get out there like an hour before. And I was so anxious that I think I got out there an hour and a half before, and I started just pounding balls, just going as fast as possible. And I always look at him and be like, "Hey, like, what time is it? Like, it's probably time for us to go to the putting green." And he looked at me and was like, "Dude, it's not even, like, we still got an hour and a half left, or an hour and 15 minutes left, or something like that." And I was like, "Oh man, I'm ready to go now. Like, let's tee it up." And then we finally got to the first tee, teed the ball up, and I could see I put the driver down, and I could see the club just like shaking a little bit because my hands were just shaking. And that was probably the most nervous I've ever been over a golf shot, but I hit good, so maybe I should be nervous more often.
Yeah. Who was your playing partners throughout the week?
I played with the first 2 rounds. I played with Ben Silverman and Jonathan Kay. Ben's let's see, I've kept in touch with him. He's a good player. I've played with him a couple times in the past. He's a good player. I think he's down on the Corn Ferry Tour right now. He won on the Corn Ferry, I guess, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and he's just always been out there. And then Jonathan Kay, I know he's won a couple of times on the PGA Tour, and he was probably the best guy to get paired with because I'm all nervous. This is my first event. I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. I'm just freaking out a little bit, and he was like just the complete opposite. I mean, his was his probably 200th start on the PGA Tour, and was just joking with me, laughing with me, kind of loosened me up a little bit. So it was really good to get paired with a guy like that.
Yeah.
And then I made the cut. And who did I get paired with? I got paired with Robert Garrigus one day, and that was really cool because he, he's one of those guys that's been out there forever and just bombs it. So it was fun to play with him.
That's awesome. That's awesome for your first event in your home state. And I'm sure a lot of family and friends were there walking along with you and whatnot. So now where's the Barbasol held at in Kentucky?
It's held at, and we always call it Champions. I think it's called, the official name is like King Trace, but yeah, Champions course at King Trace.
Okay.
It's a good course. We played it a lot during like our college qualifying. So like I've played the course a bunch, and I like playing it. It's a good course.
Yeah, I've heard. You mentioned Chip's name. His brother runs a Facebook page selling golf gear, and I've heard that.
Yeah,
Gimme Golf. Yeah, Gimme
Yeah.
Golf. Yeah, yep. And I had followed the page before, and some buddies of mine buy stuff off there every now and then, and I had heard his name come up through there, and a couple
He's
years
been
ago.
running that for, I don't know. I mean, he's been running that, I guess, ever since I was in college, and I don't think it's his main source of income, but I think it's just kind of like a hobby, and he loves it. He's doing well with it.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. So what's the equipment in your bag? What are you running for sticks?
I'm mainly Callaway right now. I got all 14 clubs Callaway. I'm still waiting on, with the whole coronavirus, they haven't given me any of the Maverick stuff yet. So I'm still got the Epic Flash driver, Epic Flash 3-wood, and then got some Apex irons, and then I have not hit the new wedges yet. So just the Mac Daddy 4s. I think that's what I have right now, and then just got a sweet putter from Odyssey. It's one of the Toulon putters out of the Toulon garage. I think it's called the Chicago. I got it in January. And as soon as I put that thing down, it just looks great. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we got one last question before we let you go. We appreciate your time. So we have a Spotify playlist called Hot Spits and Loud Noises. And it's all the songs that the five of us like to listen while we're golfing if we listen to music. So if you had to put one song on that playlist, and we'll put it on there this week, what's your pick to go on the Hot Spits and Loud Noises soundtrack for what you like to listen to when you golf?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'd have to go with Thunderstruck, AC/DC.
Ooh, that's not on there yet. That's a good one.
Get that cranking as loud as possible.
First tee of the morning. That's a good one.
Get you ready to run through a brick wall.
I normally listen to that every time, like, I guess if I ever listen to music before I tee off, just to get the blood pumping a little faster, swing a little harder on the first tee.
Yeah, 80s rock does it. So,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, well, we appreciate it tonight, jumping on here, Cooper.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, thanks for joining in with the interview with us, Cooper Musselman. It was nice to have you, and we can't wait to add your pick, Thunderstruck, to our Hot Spits and Loud Noises soundtrack. So, rolling into Hot Spits right now, we're going to go through our weekly picks and add them to the list. So, Cam, you are up first.
All right. I am going to go with a different direction this week and go with This Kid's Not All Right by AWOL Nation.
Never heard of it, but I'm sure it's a great song, Cam. I
guarantee it's better what you're going to pick.
Oh, and by the way, people, that is Tom Mott Black.
I've been here the entire time. Been here the entire time.
All right.
Like what he said. So Mott
Tom,
Black, what's your pick, Mott?
Mine this week is going to be Everybody Wants to Rule the World.
There we go.
By Weezer.
By Weezer. Is that a remake?
It's a cover.
Okay, because I looked it up and it says Tears for Fears is the original person.
Yes. I like the Weezer one.
Fair enough. All right, John.
It's on the Teal album, John, if it makes it any easier.
I just found it and I'm adding it right now. So mine is Downtown by Macklemore.
Oh, all
right. With the Macklemore.
Yep, it's a great song to get you pumped up. I'm just more of a upbeat guy with that. I was actually on the bike the other day working out and it came on and I was listening to the music video and I was literally throwing my hands in the air. dancing. Like
You wave him like you just don't care.
I did. I was up. I was like, I hope nobody's looking through the window right now because I'm just jamming out to this on the bike. And I felt like, what's that little meme that everybody shares? The Brad Pitt one when he's like on the exercise bike and he's throwing his hands up. What movie is that from? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
I do not.
The GIF that everybody shares of him like pumping his fists when he's on the bike.
I have no idea what we're talking
What
about.
bike?
What?
Yeah.
All right. I'll have to share it in a group chat.
Like
You
a
guys know it.
bicycle
Like at a workout
or
bike.
a motorcycle? Oh, I don't know.
No, he's on a workout bike and he's, you know what I'm freaking talking about.
No.
Anyway, let's
You said
continue.
hands in the air. At first, I thought you were talking about Rocky Balboa at the top of the stairs.
No,
but then
no,
you said
I'm
bike.
gonna send it in the group chat. So go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I'll wrap us up with, we'll do another Macklemore song this week. We're going to go with And We Danced by Macklemore.
That's a good one with Idris Elba.
With who?
Oh, I thought I'm thinking of a different one by Macklemore. Never mind. So
that should wrap us up here, right?
Does Dean not have one from his sick bed?
oh, yes, he does. He texted me. Dean texted me from his sick bed. His pick is Fleetwood Mac Dreams. Has anybody heard that before?
He's 25, by the way, not 42.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, so those are our picks to add to the soundtrack on Spotify. We appreciate you guys joining us in this week. We're missing Dean. T's and P's to him as he's on his deathbed, probably with coronavirus or COVID-19.
Oh my God, here we go.
So like, subscribe, reach out to us on Instagram, let us know what you think, and we appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Toodaloo.